Well, good afternoon, everybody. Oh, this pan looks low today. There's more mud here than usual. Look at that. Sorry, distracted. Hi, welcome to the show, everyone. My name is Kelly. I'm going to be here for the next couple of hours. We will be discussing what we are seeing on these cameras, along with anything else you fancy talking about, to be perfectly honest. As I always say, it's the best part of the show is hearing from everyone who is joining us from wherever they may be joining us from. You are all very, very welcome. We are live and interactive for the next 2 hours. It is the 10th of September today. It's just after 11 o'clock here in sunny South Africa in the Lowveld. And please send all of your questions and thoughts through to wildearth.tv/questions. If you've never joined in before, please do. We have some excellent people asking some fabulous questions. You can join the conversation on X using the hashtag WildEarth. I think the first question yesterday was, do animals have taste buds? Which was a brilliant opener. So please do send your questions and comments through via WhatsApp on +27 786 302 336. We are starting here at the fabulous Oldonyo up in Kenya today. And this pan looks different today. The water looks slightly lower. And that zebra looks like it's, I don't know if I'm seeing it right. That zebra on the right looks like that's mud there, which is unusual. There is an elephant we often see who often stands in the middle of this pan. He is one of the smaller individuals and he's got the most perfectly even tusks I've ever seen. So I wonder if that's our boy stood there in the middle. I can't quite work out, are those zebras standing in mud or is it dust? Catherine, hello. Thank you very much for being here. Your presence and input is very much appreciated. As always, it's lovely to have you joining us. Oh no, it's dust. That's how thick the dust is. I thought it was mud. Maybe it's just been a very busy morning here at Oldonyo with lots of drinking going on. Might be why this water's dropped a little bit. These zebras we see up here in Kenya, as far as my research tells, are actually Grant's zebra, which I believe is a subspecies of the plains zebra, I think, from what I've managed to establish. But taxonomy is an absolute minefield that I often get very lost in. But you can see how these zebras differ to our virtual zebra that we see down in the Lowveld, lacking those shadow stripes. And I'm sure that water's a bit lower than usual. Shelley, you're asking, why do zebras dust bathe? It's a sort of technique. It's like grooming. I think it feels nice. It will help to get parasites off their fur. Often see birds dust bathing as well. Wildebeest also roll in the dust. It's like a way of grooming and removing ticks and bugs. You often find specifically wildebeest, I've noticed, you will sometimes find if they've been rubbing on a post or something, you will find ticks on that post where they've rubbed. Rhinos also will rub on posts and you can find ticks and bugs left behind. Penelope Kenyon, hello to you too, Penelope Kenyon. Zoomies and chatters, the water seems to go down very quickly these days. Yes, it has gone down very quickly. I'm not sure what the temperature is up there in Kenya at the moment. But it could be that there is more animals. I mean, any local natural pans, I'm sure, are gone. So it could be that there's more. I know there was lots of giraffe here yesterday, so maybe they are drinking more. Penelope Kenyon, you're also confirming it was filled up a day ago. Obviously, the inflow pipe is very slow. Yeah, I think maybe this water flow has slowed down a bit, but also there might be more animals there drinking. But I'm sure that will come back up again, hopefully. It's very, very popular. It's unusual that we have no animals here. Andy, hello Andy, you are 10 years old. Thank you very much for joining us. And that's a brilliant question. You are asking, are there elephants near the coast and will they go into the ocean? Elephants can sometimes be found in coastal areas. I've never seen an elephant on the beach, but I do believe in some areas of southern Africa, Mozambique, you might find elephants in some of the coastal areas. It's much more common to see elephants in savanna areas and bush areas, but it's not impossible to see a wild elephant on a coastline. And I'm just trying to think. I'm just trying to think if I'm sure I've seen a clip of an elephant swimming in the ocean. Yeah, I'm sure I have. I've never seen it personally, but yes, Andy, you can sometimes find elephants near coasts. I've never seen it though. I remember when I saw ostriches on a beach. That was strange enough for me. It was very bizarre for me to see ostriches on a beach. Catherine, you're saying these zebra look so much nicer and cleaner without the shadow stripes. They do, I believe. Ooh, too close. I believe it almost, from what I can gather, the further south you go, the more pronounced those stripes get. It's almost like a gradual change until there's far up in the north. There's none of those shadow stripes left at all. It does feel weird for me seeing zebras without those shadow stripes. Look how these. I'm still always stunned at how close these elephants allow these other animals to come at this pan. This is definitely a popular spot. I wonder if there's. I don't know if there's a regular time that they actually fill this pan up. Maybe there is a regular time it's done. Let's go across to Tau. It was bumping at Tau Waterhole yesterday. It was a shame. Now is not your time, zebras. But yeah, there was lots and lots and lots of animals congregated at Tau yesterday. So let's go across and have a look and see who we've got today. Are you teals? I think we've got some teals huddled there. Red-billed teals, I believe, huddled on that little patch of grass. I'm surprised I was trying to work out yesterday if it was actually grass on the closest edge of the waterhole, the closest side to the lodge, and if it was, I was surprised that there weren't lots of animals in there feeding on that grass. Two Discos Dave. Hi, thank you for joining us. Good morning to you too. After grisliness earlier, a nice peaceful waterhole show would be some light relief. Oh wow. You said they're oh wow, you had lions killing a hippo in the Mara during the sunrise safari, and they eat the hippo while it was still, oh my goodness, they ate the hippo while it was still alive. That's insane. Was it an adult hippo? Oh, there's a spoondle there at Tau as well. That's crazy. Quite distressing as well. But yes, I think maybe let's stick to some peaceful light relief with some birdies and some nice graceful giraffes and no one being eaten. I've only seen I've seen 3 like big kills, what most people would define as a kill. It is quite upsetting. What have I seen? Baby zebra being killed by lions, and two duikers being killed by leopards. But I think as they get bigger and the prey species get larger, it's quite distressing to watch.
Oh, wow.
What does it take to handle the wild? Balance. Determination. Focus.
Yaku!
And gear that can take a beating so you don't have to.
My name is Takudzwa Panda Msesani. My scariest moment is when it happened twice. The other time I was with Cedric and the other time I was with Steve. And all those times, it was a black mamba. My favorite meal in camp is gonna be burger and chips.
Are you ready for the adventure of a lifetime? Wild Earth Travel's newsletter is your passport to a magical journey. Explore exclusive travel options featuring special offers at stunning Wild Earth locations and all hosted by your favorite presenters. Don't miss out. Head over to our website and subscribe to the Wild Earth Travel newsletter today and stay in the know on all our unforgettable adventures. Wild Earth Travel, where Africa comes alive.
That must have been quite distressing. Oh wow, someone's just sent me a picture. Oh, that's horrendous. Someone's just sent me a picture through of a lion on top of a hippo. Shame. Oh no. It's really hard. It's so difficult. But it is nature. Catherine, you can see the forest elephants in the ocean in Gabon. Yes, Gabon, I think, is one of the places. those forest elephants will come out and utilise the ocean. I've never seen it. It would be a very cool... I would find it really confusing, I think, seeing an elephant in the sea. V. Hello, V. Thank you for your question. You're asking which bird is calling. The bird I can hear calling here at Tau at the moment. I can hear a grey-tip flycatcher calling at the moment. I'm not very good at bird impressions. It's sort of going... That's why I don't do bird impressions. That's a grey-tip flycatcher calling in the background there. Mercedes Bean, hello. Thank you for joining us. Greetings to you too, Wild Earth crew and chatters. Happy Wednesday. It is indeed Wednesday. Slap bang in the middle of the week. Thank you, Nadine. Thank you very much, Nadine, for sending me that picture through of that lion on that hippo. That is sad to see, but the circle of life indeed. Let's go across to Camelthorne. Still lovely scenes here at Tau. I'm sure we will come back again a little bit later. But in the meantime, let's catch up with Camelthorne. The water had also dropped. Oh, wow. That's a lot of zebra. And that's a really nice angle. We normally see these more zoomed out. This is a brilliant angle. What? Why are they just sort of standing there? They look like they're waiting for something. Huge numbers of zebra have been congregating around this Camelthorne region. Lots and lots of hippos here as well. I think someone did say that the hippos at some point had been fed there. I'm just wondering if this isn't what's going on here. I've never actually been to this Camelthorne site, so I'm not totally sure what their policies are or what game management strategies they've got in place there. Oh no, it looks like they're making their way down for a drink now. It definitely looks like that they're on pause. Maybe someone's waiting for someone to make the first move. We know that prey species can be super hesitant around water sources. Like I said, at this time of year, there was buffaloes and kudus and things being eaten with great frequency along the Sand River in the dry season. I think at one point lions killed like 3 buffalo in quick succession in sort of, a couple of hours. because the animals were weak. I'm pretty sure that's what was going on with this hippo, if he was near the end of his life, the hippo we were speaking about earlier. It definitely looks like these zebras are waiting for something here, but we will see what develops. We will maybe pop back later and see if they've managed to make it down for a drink. And let's go across to Tembe. There was also lots of activity there yesterday. Lots of these big boys. Still plenty of water here at Tembe Elephant Park.
The Wild Earth Impact Foundation is a non-profit that uses the power of wildlife storytelling as a force for good. We create sustainable development projects that showcase conservation stories, empower people, and inspire environmental action. As a registered South African PBO, you can make a tax-deductible donation to the Wild Earth Impact Foundation. To find out more, visit our website.
Hyenas love bathing.
Doing bushwalks, we will also walk in single file quietly. I guess if that first zebra walks a path and doesn't get eaten, or anything bad doesn't happen, then that second zebra taking that same path is more likely to be safe. I know this bit in front here hasn't always been a super deep pan, but it's definitely drier than it was. I also wonder if it's not something to do with, since we've changed the times and we're now doing this a little bit earlier, we're maybe not as close to any times that water inlets are opened. That's so interesting. It looks like they're just sort of walking around rather than coming down for a drink. Nick, that's a brilliant question. What is the strangest thing I've ever seen on a bushwalk? I've seen lots of strange things on bushwalks. Bush-based stuff as opposed to the human element. So many weird things. One thing that sticks out in my mind, the first thing that springs to mind is I saw something on the floor. I was actually out with other guides, and we came to a conclusion that the only thing we thought it could possibly be. But it was like it looked like a massive claw mark, but it was huge. It was sort of, I don't know, like 50 centimetres. And it looked like a claw mark. It looked like a grizzly bear claw mark to me. And I know that sometimes if hooved animals run, they can leave sort of what looks like scratch marks. But there was 5, and they were all exactly the same length. And we didn't see any other tracks in the area. The ground had been slightly wet, so they were clear sort of claw nail marks. And we never really worked out what it was. That sticks out in my mind. Obviously, there's a very low chance that it was a grizzly bear track, because there are no grizzly bears in Africa, obviously. But I spent a lot of time pondering that. And we never really quite worked it out. But I think that's fascinating. There's lots of groups and chat groups and things that guides will share information on and interesting things on and stuff they've seen. I'll keep thinking of other things though, Nick, but that was quite strange, and we never quite got an answer for it, which is great. Melanistic marble. It does look dry here. I'm glad there is some water still there. It just looks like it's receded a bit. And it's a bit weird the way those zebras just sort of, they walked up and down and around a bit before they went to drink. I find behaviour so interesting. And we often don't know why something is happening. It's quite mystifying sometimes. But there is still water here, so we're all good. I think it just looks like it's maybe receded a little bit, but nice to know there is still some water there. Lola, you are asking, what is my go-to bush story? Wow. Okay, there's so many, Lola. I actually went to where I used to work a few weeks ago, and I saw my old tracker that I used to work with. Noel, if you're listening, highly unlikely, but I worked with Noel for a very long time. Amazing Shangaan tracker. And I went in to see him to say hi, and I took some cakes back. And he reminded me of a couple of sightings we had together that I'd completely forgotten about. There's so many, Lola. I've had a couple of times where I've had to get back in vehicles, at drink stops, where elephants or lions have turned up. I've really remembered some of the people I've driven, and experiences that they've had. There was, of course, the terrifying incident where my car wouldn't start in a relatively put-out group of elephants. That was quite nerve-wracking. That was very early on in my career. Didn't enjoy that at all. There's so many, Lola. I actually keep a diary. I've kept a diary since I was about 12 or 13 years old. And maybe I should write a book sometime of all the sightings I've had, because lots of them are recorded in my diaries. There's so many. I'm so fortunate that I do have so many stories. There's some that I probably wouldn't be able to tell here. A couple of them are springing to mind. My first kill was quite cool. Well, not cool for the... Wow, look at all those hippos in there. Not so cool for the zebra, but I actually had my cousin with me at the time from England, which was super special. And I was sitting at a dam up in Medikwe, up in the sort of northish side of Medikwe, and there were some lions on the dam wall, as they often lay on the dam wall. And there was some zebra like over the other side of the dam. And everyone said, "Oh, are they going to hunt them?" I said, "No, they won't." I said, the lions are out in the open, they're not hiding, everyone's going to know where everyone is. And then a little zebra foal, sorry, I feel bad saying this while we're looking at zebra, very young zebra foal walked out of the tree line, and a lioness stood up. I've actually got a clip of it. I managed to, not a very stable clip of it, but I managed to film it. It's actually one of my guests filmed it and they sent it to me. And she stood up and she looked and she went and she ran through the water, the sort of shallow edge of the water, and she just swiped this zebra foal with her foot, and that was the end of that. So regularly proved wrong, which is always good fun. Yeah, I'm disappearing into my own memory banks now. There's so many, Lola. Zebras, looking at those zebras, I've helped pull a baby zebra out of the Tower waterhole. That would have been 2013. Not sure if the camera would have got that. There was a baby zebra stuck in the mud there. Oh, thank you, Catherine. They did put food out about an hour ago. There's also some construction workers there. That would make complete sense as to why their behaviour is a bit strange. Thank you for confirming that I'm not going crazy. Let me try and think of a story about all of the big five, maybe. So many elephant stories. But yeah, I think definitely for elephant, when my car wouldn't start and someone had to come and tow me out of an elephant sighting. One of my cars broke down in the middle of a lion sighting, which was actually on April Fool's Day many years ago. And the guest said that, brilliant April Fool's joke. I said, no, the car won't start. And I ended up, someone came and I had to climb over the windscreen and over the bonnet. And between us, we stood on the cars and very gingerly attached a tow rope to get out of the sighting. Rian, you're saying it seems to me that Camelthorne, there's an overpopulation of zebras. I think it's more about the time of year. I don't really know the how big this traversing area is, Rian, how much space all of these animals have got to move, but things are often skewed at this time of year. They appear skewed because of lack of resources. So it could be after the rainy season, the animals more disperse to different areas and use different water sources. So I'm not sure how many zebra are in X enclosed an area, but I think it would be looking like this at the moment because of this is the main water supply, so this is where they're all hanging out. Spas, hello. I'm glad you are enjoying these zebras and hippos. You are also asking, Have I ever seen a hippo trying to injure a zebra? Which bite is stronger, hippo or zebra? I'm going to go hippo. I think there was, the last time I researched hippo bite force, they were struggling to get a reading from a male hippo bite because they couldn't get it to work. The hippo was just going crazy. I'm sure I've got that in the remnants of my brain. They were trying to get a measurement on a male hippo bite, but they couldn't make the situation organised enough for it to work. That was the last I heard on it anyway. I'm sure things have progressed since then. But yeah, I've been bitten by a zebra and it was sore, but I don't think I would have come off as well if I'd been bitten by a hippo, put it that way. Nice little spot for our crocodiles there. 1, 2, 3. I think I can see 4 there. It's amazing when you go, oh, there's a crocodile, and then if you keep looking a little bit harder, even more pop out to see. I'm trying to think of what other stories I've got. There's just so many. Every sighting's a story. It is amazing how much you do, how many sightings you do remember if you're driving along roads, or like I an amazing leopard sighting in the Kruger last week, a week ago, and every single time I drive past that tree now, I'm gonna be half expecting there to be a leopard in it, and there probably never will be. There's one particular tree on the main entrance road in the Kruger that it's desperate to have a leopard draped over it. But it never has yet. Not that I've seen anyway. Oh, is our croc getting a bit warm? Gonna go back in? Crocs sunning themselves. Ah, we're back up at Oldonio. Ah, look at all these. Wow. These fringe-eared, oh, has that one got a bad leg? Or is he just turning? Oh no, I think he was just the way he was moving. I'm still thinking, Lola. I've had a few hairy moments, but I've probably had fewer hairy moments in the bush because everyone always thinks of the good stories of being the scary, frightening ones. I've had a few hairy moments, but probably not as many as lots of people. I give lots of space to things, and one of the phrases I used to teach lots of the young boys I was mentoring to become guides was, if in doubt, leave it out. If you think that might not be a brilliant idea, then rather give it a skip. And as a result of this, creates fewer hairy, dangerous moments, I have found in my experience. But there's eland back there as well, some eland, some oryx, these zebras. Everyone cohabiting beautifully. I've been fortunate enough to work with rhino a couple of times when they've been anaesthetised. That's a very special experience, being able to actually touch a rhino. The lasting impression of the rhino that I took was I could not believe how hard they are. Like you'd think their skin, if you touched their skin, it would be like a horse or something like that. It would feel like flesh, but they're not. It's like rock. They're absolutely solid. There's no give in that body at all. And we had to monitor their breathing. We had to keep our hands near their noses to make sure they were breathing well. And the edge of a rhino's nose is like soft, slightly snotty velvet. Amazing to be able to touch those animals. Paul, you're asking, what is my favourite wildlife saying? If in doubt, leave it out. It prevents many a near miss. Or the other one is, I think my first one is probably if in doubt, leave it out. And the second one would be, let me get it right. Take nothing but photos, leave nothing but footprints, and waste nothing but time. I like that one as well. I've just had a beautiful grey-headed bushshrike land in front of me.
Let's go and take a look. See you out there.
My name is Takudzwa Panda Msesani. I really want to film an artwork, and it has been my goal. I'll be just keeping my eyes open. The worst driver is Jem. He's driving. Yeah, you gotta be holding on back in there. Yeah? Like in bumps, and I mean, it happens when these things happens when you're actually going for animals usually. But then, he's driving. Yeah, you gotta put your seatbelt.
Out here, every wild moment counts, and as a Wild Earth explorer, you won't miss a thing.
Incredible.
Watch the Wild Earth channel ad-free 24/7 and rewind if you want to catch something again. Enjoy behind-the-scenes videos, fireside chats, and early access to travel offers. The best way to stay connected and be part of the Wild Earth family.
Rian, you're asking, are the Aldonio eland the Livingston breed, the largest of the antelope species? I think the ones at Aldonio, Rian, are common, and there is a giant eland, which is not these. I think the giant eland are more Central Africa. I'm not sure which of those two is Livingstone's. I think the Livingstone's is also the giant, but I would have to double check. But no, I don't think these ones here are the biggest ones. I know them as common and giant. Sorry, Julio, I missed where we're going again then. I was mid-eland. This must be so stressful for the zebra trying to get in here and get a drink. Sammy, you are asking, does gravity affect the way giraffes drink water? It kind of does. They have special mechanisms to help them drink water, but I think it's still just a swallowing action. But Sani, I'm going to check that. I know they've got that rigmarole, but that's more about blood flow. I'm not sure if they've got any super special adaptations to get that water to where it needs to go. Logic would say yes. I couldn't tell you right now exactly what they are, but Sani, let me make a note of that. Logic would say there might be a different muscle structure or something, because that's a long way. It's a long way to go, unless. Let me research that more, Sani. That's a really, really good question. I'm just swallowing, and it's very easy for me to swallow. But do giraffes swallow all the water they've got down their throat and into their stomach before they lift their head? I don't know. I'm going to research that. That's a really good question, Sani. Okay, thank you, Chulu. Apologies. Let's head across to Serendella. I'd like to have a catch up and see what is happening across at Serendella, but I'm sure we will be back here to Oldonyo. There's huge biomass gathered here today around this pan. Ah, good. I've grown quite fond of this hippo. I'm not normally a massive fan of hippos, to be honest. I find them a bit unpredictable and difficult to read. But I felt quite sorry for this hippo recently. He's been disturbed on a regular basis by buffaloes and elephants. And he has to exit this pan. But today, he's getting a nice bit of peace and quiet. Look, you can see how he's on one side and then sort of turns over onto the other side to keep everything nice and moist. Thorny bush is quite close to here, and I think it's probably about 31, 32 degrees today. So it's definitely heating up. I'm surprised we haven't seen more competition in any of these water holes with just the one hippo in. There are quite a few nice big dams, certainly sort of between the north and central areas of Thorny Bush. There's a lovely road in Thorny Bush where you can actually, it was really nice as the days were cooling down. You could sort of take a route that took you past most of 3 or 4 nice big dams in Thorny Bush. Often get lots of nice activity in the afternoon. But this boy has, Shun boy, has picked a lovely spot for him here at the Serendella waterhole when he's not being disturbed. Anyway, these hippos are going to be having to travel increasingly large distances over night time now to find enough food. I think there have been records of them travelling up to 20 kilometres at night in the dry season to get enough forage or grass or graze or whatever you want to call it. They're big animals, they need a lot to sustain themselves, and you can see there's no grass left. You can see how shallow that is though. Lucy Cordy asking, do giraffes ever cross a river? Yes, they do. We've actually seen on the, I think was it Shalati or Oliphant's River? I think we've actually seen it. We've seen them crossing a river. We were talking a while ago about what animals can't swim, or what mammals can't swim, and I did a bit of research, and giraffe were actually one of the animals that came back that they might be able to sort of kick a little bit, but they're not swimmers. So if the river was too deep, they would be able to swim across it, but they can definitely walk across it. And I guess it would just be down to a really interesting. He's got a passenger now. Terrapin. That was the wobbly rock from yesterday. That terrapin coming out for a sunning. Is that a little bit of? Oh, I'm going to try and lean forward a bit and check this screen. I've hurt my back again. That looks like it might be a little bit of blood on him there. But tiny injury for one of these huge animals. I once watched. Sorry, Lucy, I'm rambling a bit. About swimming giraffes. My point was, I guess they would have to work out how deep they could cross, what they were prepared to take a risk for, because, I mean, breathing-wise, they could almost... They've got excellent periscopes, so how far they would go in, I don't know. They would have to be the judge of that. I guess it would be based on how strong a current was underneath, maybe, but I guess they would have to gauge that at the time, how deep they would be prepared to go. But from my experience, animals are really good at judging things like that. And my example comes from, I once watched a elephant on a, well, yeah, it was a cliff, I suppose, in Madikwe, high up on sort of a ridge line, and he was stood on the edge of this ridge, and there was, I think it was a fig tree or something, a delicious green fig tree. And this elephant had one front leg and one back leg off the ground, and it was leaning forward with its trunk to take leaves off a fig tree that was sort of on an overhang. And it was absolutely terrifying to watch. I couldn't believe that this elephant was balanced the way it was on such a high, if it had fallen off, it would have died. And the way it balanced using one of its front legs and one of its back legs to reach forward for this fig tree, I was stunned. But I guess animals have very good natural sort of spatial awareness, especially adult animals, and they know what their bodies are capable of. I think as humans we've possibly lost a lot of that natural instinct. So I'm sure a giraffe would know what would be okay. They might occasionally get it wrong, and young animals sometimes make mistakes, and we do sometimes see animals, take a bit of a tumble. Oh, that's a lovely image of this hippo. Hello. Your ears are going pink, boy. I'm assuming boy.
name is Maxine Gaines. Most people that know me really well call me Max. I'm a mum. I have 2 boys. One is 16 years old and one is 14 years old. I'm a very, very proud mama of my 2 boys. I've just always been passionate about leopards. I'm passionate about their conservation. I'm just passionate about everything to do with leopards. I love them.
Greatest wildlife spectacle on planet Earth. We'll see you there.
Gave birth and for one reason or another the mum died, what would happen to the baby elephant? That's a really good question, Antoinette. It's not completely and utterly unheard of for elephants to allosuckle, but it's not very common. Chances are the youngster probably wouldn't make it. It might happen that one of the other females would allow that baby to suckle, but probably not. It's a rare occurrence, so chances are that if a mum died, baby probably wouldn't make it, from my understanding anyway, because if a mother is lactating, she's lactating, and because she's got a baby and her baby needs to feed. That's my understanding of it. Kaz, hello. Thank you for joining us all the way from Australia. I'm glad you are back watching. I hope you are enjoying all these fabulous scenes we are seeing. There's a couple of lowish water holes today, Kaz, but we're still getting lots and lots of visitors coming through for drinks. Andy, you're still 10. Thank you very much for asking. Brilliant question from you again, Andy. You're asking, can baboons swim? Yes, they can. I've actually seen on several occasions baboons in water for, cooling off possibly, but for fun. And I know when it gets super hot here in Hoedspruit, we occasionally get photos of baboons utilising people's pools in the hot weather. And the youngsters have an absolute blast jumping in and out of the pools in the summer to cool off. So yes, baboons can swim. I think there was 3 mammals that were mentioned most about not being able to swim. One I think was chimps. One was, where are you off to, boy? One was giraffes, and I can't currently remember the other one. But most mammals can swim. Elephants can swim. White rhino, because of their head carriage, they've got a very low head carriage, and they can't get their head high enough to swim well. Yeah, I wonder, like looking at this giraffe now, I wonder how deep into a river this giraffe would go before it risked. It would depend on the current, I suppose, if it was fast flowing. But I mean, technically a giraffe could walk all the way up to halfway up its neck, I guess. But that wouldn't leave much balance. it would just have that head and a bit of neck sticking out for balance, which I suppose could make it quite tricky if there was any sort of current at all under there. So look, that giraffe's struggling to get down there to that low water. It's hard enough for these guys at the best of times, but look how far he is. I'm holding my breath, shame. This giraffe would probably be quite good at the cardboard box game. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of the cardboard box game. It's a game I've played many times over the years, and it's basically an empty cereal box, and you have to pick it up with your teeth. That giraffe's going to get a fright with that elephant behind it now. You have to pick an empty cereal box up with your teeth without putting your knees or your hands on the floor. And then everyone does it, and then you make the cardboard box a bit lower, a bit shorter, rip the top off. And you see who can get the lowest to the ground. I think this giraffe would be very good at that game. I used to do quite well, but maybe not so much anymore these days. See if that elephant just gave that giraffe a nudge. It would cause so much trouble. Oh, you go back down again. Let's go across to Mkoro. I'd love to see how those water levels are doing there. Wow, he's still got a terrapin on his head. He's still got those terrapins on. It's all about the zebras and elephants and giraffes today, hey? That terrapin managed to stay on that hippo's head. That's insane. Oh, the other one's is the other one making a run for it? You must all share, guys. Tony from Watford, yes, you are correct. Hippos also. They don't swim, they sink, and then they run along the bottom of the water there. Karen, you're asking. We know how many litres of. We know how many litres of water an elephant can suck up. Do we know how much water a giraffe can suck up at one time? I've got absolutely no idea. I've been thinking. There's a muscular skeletal system. Adaptations that assist that giraffe, and I think there's a valve as well that assists with them drinking. But I'm looking at that giraffe drink, Karen, and Do you mean sort of in one, like one suck or in one sitting? I don't know. I could not answer that. When you're looking at these elephants, I can fully believe that there could be 6 litres sucked up there at one time, but I don't know what a giraffe would be able to manage, or how you would measure it. I can try and find out though. Let me put it on the homework list, Karen. I'm going to do some proper. I know that there is a valve and there's musculoskeletal differences to assist with a giraffe drinking, but I'm not quite sure what they are. So I'm going to add to that. How many litres? I'm going to do some good giraffe drinking homework this afternoon. Sani, you're asking, what age do elephants start growing tusks? We normally start seeing them around about 2-ish. I believe they do have milk tusks that we don't see, but those other tusks start to emerge around about 2-ish. When we can start to see them, it depends on various things, developmental stages as usual. But we often start to see those tusks about 2, if they're going to grow them. Winston, thank you very much for this question. I'm not even going to cheat. Well, I never cheat. If I don't know something, then I go find it out, come back and update everyone the next day. You're asking, please tell you something about an animal called an okapi. Wow, I don't know much about okapis. I know they're very cool. I know they're found in the Democratic Republic of Congo. They are forest dwellers, and they look like a cross between an antelope and a giraffe. This is all I can tell you, Winston, about okapis. They're a mixture between like an antelope, a horse, and a giraffe. I've seen a couple in zoos. I've never seen one in the wild. I would love to go and find one in the wild, but they're incredibly elusive. Even people I know who have worked in areas where they're found have not seen them. But yeah, they're fascinating looking animals. I can't tell you much more about them, I'm afraid, Winston. I'm not even sure exactly which family they sit under. Incredible markings, but they're intriguing to look at, put it that way. Hi Marina Horrick. Thank you very much for joining. I'm glad you are enjoying the waterholes. They are definitely busy at the moment. There is much activity at all of our waterholes. I'm feeling actually bad for the hippos at the moment. They keep getting disturbed. They just want to chill there in their water in peace, and they're getting disturbed by everyone. Let's watch this giraffe drink. So I guess the only way I know. Asking that, Karen, you're asking how did they find out elephant water intake? I would assume they would have tested the sort of diameter of a trunk and worked out what the cubic content would be of a trunk. I know that 6 litres is supposed to be just a big ball. I'm sure little ones with smaller trunks can't suck up that much. I'm watching that giraffe and a giraffe would have, I'm thinking about it really carefully, a giraffe would have to swallow. They would slurp in their mouth and then swallow. I don't think it would be as easy to measure as a trunk, but I don't know is the answer. Let's go across to Menno and Quina. while I continued to ponder how they would measure like it would just be how much they could suck at one time, and would it go into their mouth and then swallow, into their mouth and then swallow? I don't think it's a sort of, I don't think their neck is like a straw where it would just go all the way in and all the way down into their stomach. I don't think. But this is why we have homework. Little family of elephants across on the right there. On the Buteti River. It does look like there's not quite as many zebras around here. These animals must be starting to struggle for food around these water points. It sounds like a little plover or something calling there. But yeah, there's lots of standing around. But I guess these animals are starting to have to conserve energy to some extent. Going to if they're covering long distances. If they're covering long distances every day, going out to areas to graze and then coming back to water. Maybe this is why we're seeing slightly less activity and more standing around, I guess. They don't have the energy reserves as to when there's good food around. EJ, yes, I'm sure they probably did. They've looked at captive wildlife to measure how much water an elephant can drink. But I would have thought it would be based on trunk circumference, because they can only fit X amount into their trunk at one time, whereas giraffe, it would be more about how much. I don't know. I'm getting lost in trying to work out how you would measure how much a giraffe could drink in one suck. I don't have an answer.
For years, we've shared virtual wildlife. Now, let's experience it for real. I'm Lauren Arthur, and I'd love to show you my amazing home here in the Greater Kruger of South Africa. This 5-night journey is an exclusive connection to my piece of untamed Africa. I live here in these gorgeous landscapes surrounded by epic wildlife. The wild is calling, so come and join me.
Even a hyena coming into the action as well now. Oh my word! She's stalking the hyena now. Leopard, hyena, lion, all together in one shot. Oh! Whoa. This is action-packed.
Join our expert guides at dawn for a live, immersive safari as the bush comes to life.
found ourselves a chameleon, and look how he's changed colour.
Every sunrise brings new discoveries.
Pound for pound, a leopard is one of the strongest cats around.
Ask questions, share your thoughts, and connect with nature, live and in real time.
Great excitement, great happiness.
Start your day with adventure. Every month, something wild lands in your inbox. From rare sightings and behind-the-scenes secrets to expert stories, seasonal changes, and exclusive travel opportunities, the Wild Earth Journal is your free monthly mailer, packed with the magic of the wild straight from the field. It's fun, it's free, it's full of surprises. Sign up now on the Wild Earth website.
Very amicable scenes here. I'm still trying to think of what's my go-to bush story. I do remember sitting at again it was a kill, but I was with very good friends of mine at the time, sitting at a dam, and there was a leopard across the other side, but way in the distance, sort of, 80, 90 metres across the other side of the dam, and we were just sitting chatting, and someone else found another leopard that was not far away, and everyone raced off, and I said, let's just stay here. They were good friends of mine that I'd driven multiple times before. I said, we can go. They said, no, let's just stay. And we chatted and, mused and shot the breeze. And then a daker walked down to the waterhole, and the daker didn't see the leopard. And we watched the entire thing. This daker walked down to the waterhole. The leopard stalked. The daker drank, and the leopard caught the daker, and then dragged it off and carried it away. And it really made me realise that sometimes just being patient and taking your time makes all the difference. We are starting to think that maybe, well, it's going to depend on the rains, but this Pateti River that this camera is on, it didn't flow for many years, and then after some good rains, it flowed in 2009, and then again after the rainy season. So I guess these animals are waiting to see when the rains come, if this river is going to flow. It's going to be amazing to have these cameras if it does. It's going to be a completely different landscape every season when the land. I'm just trying to think of what that bird is that's calling. Every seasonal change that we see, every year I'm mystified. I can't believe how much everything changes. Everything is very dry and dusty and dead looking, and then within the space of a couple of weeks those rains just explode everything, and everything just reignites with vigour. That almost sounds like a wagtail calling. We're seeing lots of the summer migrants return here to the low veld. Had a Stearling's wren warbler this morning. The kites are back. Fairly sure we saw a Wahlberg's eagle when we were in the park. Incoming! So lots of the summer migrants are returning again. Now I wonder if these elephants are from the same group. Where have they been? Hello Deb D, thank you very much for joining us. It's lovely to have you here. Maybe those elephants are part of the same group. Always lovely to have you on board, Deb D. Spas, you are saying, I hope the Pateti River fills soon. I wonder how the animals like zebras and elephants survived here during drought periods. Very badly, I would imagine. I know droughts can cause huge loss of life to multiple species. And ultimately, if there's no water and they can't, there's a big elephant coming in. Let's see how the others react here. Water is life, and if there's no water, that animals often don't survive. They will try and relocate where they can, but humans have had a huge impact over the years of negatively affecting historical migratory routes of animals. So I'm sure it didn't fare well. So he's gonna shame all the others are gonna leave. Are they gonna also move on?
My name is Amy, and today we're going to be doing things a little bit differently.
At Wild Earth, we believe every story has the power to create change. That's why we've launched the Wild Earth Impact Foundation, a non-profit dedicated to conservation and social impact. By showcasing conservation stories, we can change lives, protect nature, and empower communities. We have partnered with Empowers Africa to accept tax-deductible donations from US donors. Your donation will help fund critical programs that support our mission. Join us and be part of the change.
My full name is Maxine Gaines. Best part of the job, gosh, I just love everything about guiding. I love being able to observe animal behavior and animals behaving naturally. So for me, that's by far the best part of the job. And so what we do here at Wild Earth is develop those connections with the people that are viewing, and maybe just light a little spark that says, you know what, I want to be involved in protecting this ecosystem.
And that's it for this morning's drive.
She's just got her impala, everybody.
And we're going to be heading out and seeing what animals we can find.
He doesn't even look like a huge big bull, but we would see Kudus would climb those kopjes sometimes. There's several of these kopjes around this area that Tao's in. There was actually a big kopje behind our staff village where we, every day, that's where the water tanks for the lodge were, and every day someone would have to go up to the top of this kopje and check the water tower levels, and we used to draw straws for it. It wasn't a particularly nice walk, and you did but sometimes bump into things up there, elephants, lions, and often we would find big male kudus up there. They're stunning. The emblem of sand parks, you can see why. Lots of people's favourite antelope, these kudu. There have been a couple of instances where these big males have ended up accidentally locking horns and been unable to unlock themselves. Those horns have got tangled, they're like corkscrew, and they've almost corkscrewed into one another, and they haven't been able to free themselves. There was it's in Swaziland, I think. I was there and I saw was it photos? I think it was photos that had been taken, and two male kudu, they found the skeletons of these two male kudu. Their horns were locked and they'd accidentally slipped down a sort of crevasse, and that's where they stayed, sadly. But super big, majestic kudu bulls. Incredibly powerful, these bulls. I've seen them jump 2-meter fences from a standstill. They've got so much power. And these kudus are one of the reasons I was told very early on when I moved here, you should drive dirt roads with your inside light on in your car. There's been many cases of many accidents of kudu and cars colliding in the bush at night time, but the story goes that kudus, if they see you, they will jump or try and jump the light, the highest light, and if it's your headlights, and that's how high they jump, they end up on your windscreen. But if you drive with your inside light on, there's a chance they might jump high enough to clear the car. Not sure how true that is. But I do frequently drive with my inside light on dirt roads at night time for that reason. Beautiful views of those two boys disappearing off into the bush. Let's go back across to Camel Thorn. See how many, stunning. See how, all these zebra are still milling around. It does, thank you for updating me that there was some feeding done here not long ago, which could account for the loitering of these zebra. There's a croc in this image as well. There's a couple. Is that just shiny on that hippo's back, or is it something white? I can't work out if that's just sheen from the water or if it's something white on that hippo's back. Hello, Ollie the Oxpecker. Welcome. It's still warm in Joburg as well, is it? That's interesting. I'm glad it's warm in Joburg. I know I've got a couple of friends in Joburg who have been delighted to have a bit of heat. Finally, it's been chilly there. This hippo that's walking down into the water there, I think that was something white on his back. It almost looked like bird poo, but I've never seen. It's not impossible. I don't ever seem to recall. Have I seen an egret standing on a hippo? Has anyone seen any birds standing on these hippos at Camelthorne that they can remember? Because that almost looked like bird poo to me. Junebug. Hello, Junebug. Isn't there a statue of locked kudos at Skakusa? Possibly. I used to spend quite a lot of time at Skakusa. And I'm rifling around to try and remember if I'd seen one there. I know that there is a statue of some locked kudos somewhere, but I can't remember if it was at Skakusa or not. It could be. If you remember a statue there of locked horn kudos, that's not easy to say. Locked horn kudos at Skakusa. It could well be, but it is a real phenomenon. It does happen. And Catherine, keeping the interior light on in a car when you're driving through the bush at night. I've got no idea if it works, Catherine, but someone once said that to me, and it would make sense that if something was trying to clear something, it would jump over what they could see, and it's going to be a lot less damaging for everyone if they jumped a little bit higher. Fortunately, I've never been in that situation to find out. See, these zebra have been walking in thick mud. Wildlife Love, good afternoon to you. You are hoping to see terrapins. We just had a hilarious sighting of terrapins at the at Nkoro. Balanced on a hippo. There was also a terrapin balanced on a hippo at Serendella a little while ago. Maybe we can have a look around and see if we can find some more terrapins for you, Wildlife Love. Julian Thomas, thank you very much for this input. You've seen a whole flock of African skimmers roosting on and pooing on resting hippos in Uganda. Yeah, I'm unsurprised. There's something in my head that's telling me I might have seen an egret doing it before, but I've never noticed. I don't recall regularly seeing hippos with bird poo on, but it might make sense. Or I could be completely mistaken. It could have just been the way light was bouncing off that skin there. But I guess birds will take up residence wherever they need to. But that would be a very cool sighting. African skimmers roosting on hippo, that's brilliant. I suppose oxpeckers sit on hippos, don't they? Of course they do. But that looked like sort of bigger bird poo to me. It looked like sort of stork poo or something. Maybe that's why he's gone in for a rinse now. I would love to hear if anyone has seen birds standing on hippos here. There's certainly enough hippos to stand on. just see that crocodile tail on the left there, that jaggedy tail sticking out of the water. These hippos keeping out of the heat mostly here at Camelthorne. Let's head across to Naledi Pan. I'm just trying to think. There's been lots of drinking giraffes and elephants today. I wonder if we've got anyone visiting there at Naledi Pan, or maybe even better, we've got a terrapin for you, wildlife love. Look at this guy, and he looks hot. So maybe they won't be out for long, but that was a great capture. Zoomies and MC, there is your terrapin. So the most common terrapins we see around this area are serrated, hinged or marsh. Wait. Oh. And this did you see that fluttering on that throat area? That to me almost looks like this terrapin's quite hot, and that's what they do. They will come out of the water, they will warm up, they will regulate their body temperature by going back in. That's a very loud crested Franklin.
My name is Amy, and today we're going to be doing things a little bit differently.
What does it take to handle the wild? Balance. Determination. Focus.
Yaku!
And gear that can take a beating so you don't have to.
Would you like to know what an elephant's favourite food is? You could ask me questions like that in real time. Our safaris are live and interactive from the heart of Africa. The Fortunas over here. Watch Safari Live and connect with nature.
Join us on the greatest and largest game drive in the world.
Some of you out there are brilliant at identifying hyenas.
Now, why do you think people have got this huge misunderstanding about reptiles?
Right in front of me there was the face of an astounded buffalo bull.
This is live and interactive, so everybody, if you have any questions and comments, please do send them through and let us know what you'd like.
Being all very tolerant and pleasant around each other. And it looks like it's dust bath time here now. We were talking about dust bathing earlier. Now it's the turn of these elephants to get some sand on their skin. Mickey, you're asking, do terrapins have lice on them? I don't know if they've got lice, but I think they can carry other parasites. Maybe sort of mites. I'm sure mites, anything can carry mites. I've seen mites on spiders, so they might not have lice, but I'm pretty sure they would carry mites of some sort. Almost everything has some sort of parasitic passenger of some description. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if terrapins have some sort of mite activity. It's actually amazing how many animals have species-specific mites. But yeah, that shares these parasitic companionship is fairly universal. We see it very, very frequently in the animal kingdom. Kenosi Kavindama, I hope I've said that correctly. Thank you for your question. How long can hippos stay underwater? Books normally say hippos need to breathe every 6 to 8 minutes, but as a rule, in my experience, they come up a lot more frequently than that to breathe. So whether or not they'd survive if they stayed under longer, I often see if they're in a normal situation, in a dam or a river like the hippos we've been seeing, they'll pop up every sort of, they'll open their noses to breathe every sort of 30 seconds to a minute, really. Deb D, you're asking, are there any snapping terrapins similar to our snapping turtles in the US? Funny you should say that, Deb D. I was going through a terrapin tortoise homework session a while ago, as I often do, and I discovered that the name turtle it's a language thing between the US and some other places, because normally as a guide we often hear people calling tortoises turtles and turtles terrapins and all the rest of it, and my normal response is tortoises live on land, terrapins live in fresh water, and turtles live in the sea. But it's actually a different language used in the States, and turtle is genuinely used as a universal cover for all of those, well, they're testudines, so turtles, tortoises and terrapins. So you would call our terrapins turtles because it's like a different phrasing for them. I only realised that it was a language thing quite recently. But these testudines, there's almost 300 different species of tortoises, terrapins, turtles. I am not aware of any. The only terrapins that I know of in this area are mostly the marsh and the serrated hinge. There are other species of hinged terrapins across other parts of Africa. I don't really know much about turtles because I feel like you're snapping. Are your snapping turtles freshwater or saltwater, or can they be either? I know marsh terrapins can get big. They can get up to about 7 kilograms, but I feel like your snapping turtles are ginormous and sea-dwelling. I could be wrong. Or do you find them in freshwater as well? Because I know turtles off the coast of Africa can get enormous, but inland not so much. So I didn't really answer your question at all, did I, Debdi? Yet again. But I do know we have bigger testudines or marine turtles living off the coast of Africa, but I couldn't tell you if any of them are similar to your snapping turtles. I'm curious now though where snapping turtles live. I'm going to cheat and check. Okay. Snapping turtles are freshwater and in swamps, but they're massive, aren't they? I think they're really big. Again, we're into the realms of taxonomy. I just saw the sentence. I'm checking your snapping turtle distribution, Debdi. And the sentence I've just found says, in fact, all tortoises are technically considered turtles, but not all turtles are tortoises. So I think in the States, the overarching phrase, the way I would use it would be testudines, which would encompass tortoises, turtles and terrapins. But I think that testudines grouping would be what would be called turtles in the States, I think. Ella, you're 11. Thank you very much for asking your question. Do whales have parasites? I think so. I think many living things have parasites. I don't think barnacles would be classified as parasites on a whale because they're not. I think barnacles just use them for structure. But I would have thought so, Ella, yes. Off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you what they are. But there's so many things, living things, that do carry parasites. I'd be surprised if whales didn't, would be my answer to that one. These boys are having a nice chill here in the shade, enjoying some dust bathing. But let's go back across to Camelthorpe. I'd like to try and... that hippo went into the water now. But I'd love to find out if that was actually white marks on that hippo. across at Camelthorne, there's plenty of hippos here in the water, now joined by an elephant. This water has definitely receded recently. It looks like this elephant had a drink at the big pan, and now this is cool. Now he's going to have a good mud bath here. This is lovely to watch. Let's see how accurate his throws are. Ooh, this elephant's going to do a lovely job of covering everything. This is good mudding. He did that in order. He went left side, right side, top, underneath.
Oh, wow.
The Wild Earth Impact Foundation is a non-profit that uses the power of wildlife storytelling as a force for good. We create sustainable development projects that showcase conservation stories, empower people, and inspire environmental action. As a registered South African PBO, you can make a tax-deductible donation to the Wild Earth Impact Foundation. To find out more, visit our website.
Do you want to know why impala are the most common antelope we find here in the Kruger National Park? You can ask me questions like this in real time. Our safaris are live and interactive here in the heart of Africa. Join me on Safari Live. Connect with nature.
Greatest wildlife spectacle on planet Earth. We'll see you there. Can you hear that? The wild is calling.
Asking, do elephants have twins? It's not impossible. I've never seen it. It's very rare, but it's possible. But elephants, when they're born, they weigh up to 150 kilograms. So twins, I mean, twins were possibly born smaller at, maybe 100 kilograms each. It's a lot of extra baby, for want of a better phrase, and it's very, very unusual. I've had a couple of sightings of a female that appears to have youngsters of the same age, but it's very, unless you've sort of been there, it's quite difficult to confirm. It does happen, but it's very, very unusual. Wildlife love, you're asking, do turtles live like tortoises up to 100 years? I think there are some, I'm not sure about terrapins, but I think there are some very long-lived sea turtles that have been recorded. I think they've tagged a few of the, I don't know any of the actual individuals, but I think some of the sea turtles have been tagged and studied and they've shown to be quite long-lived. So I'm not sure about terrapins, but sea turtles I believe so, yes. Winston, that's a fascinating question. If you become a field guide at a particular place for a long time, do animals in that place get to know you and get used to you? I don't think so, because we don't, as guides, well, we shouldn't be anyway, we're not supposed to be interacting with the animals as such. So it would be a case of, you know, an animal would get used to a vehicle. I've actually seen it where animals' reactions have changed between different types of vehicle. I'll never forget, it was actually, I'm not going to say where it was, actually, it was somewhere, and it was a rhino. The rhino had been used to seeing normal Land Rovers or Land Cruisers with their petrol or diesel engines, and then an electric vehicle pulled into the sighting, and this animal went crazy. It ran and it was spinning, and it didn't know what was going on because this silent vehicle had snuck up on it. So I don't think they get used to guides. If they do, then I think the guides are interacting with them too much. Would it be possible to? I've heard stories that I believe of elephants recognising people's voices. So I think it is possible, but it's heavily discouraged, Winston. If you're getting to know wild animals, then you're probably doing a bit too much with them. And spas, yes, lots of elephants having a splash at the end of the show. We're just about out of time for today, but I've got lots of research to do around giraffe drinking systems and how much water giraffes can consume and the muscle structure and skeletal structure that assists giraffes with their drinking. So that's what I'm going to be doing later on this afternoon. But it's been a lovely elephant-filled show. Plenty of activity. Lovely views of that terrapin. And I'm happy to see the hippo at Serendella getting a little bit of peace and quiet. But thank you all so much for being here. It's been an absolute pleasure. Please do enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, wherever you are and whatever you are doing. And I hope to talk to you again tomorrow with my giraffe drinking research feedback. Take care. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.